19 years ago, the year 2000, my husband and I was stationed at the Army base in Wiesbaden, Germany. At the time, my daughter was only 3 years old, and for some reason, I could never get adjusted to the time zone. So me and my daughter would stay up all night and we would tend to sleep all day. Ever since I was a little girl, I had a fascination for baby dolls, but I especially loved porcelain dolls. I loved the Victorian era, so I loved dolls that were dressed in that decor. I loved the little ringlets in their hair and the way everything was so perfect. So I started collecting porcelain dolls. I had been so fascinated with porcelain dolls that before I could even realize, I had collected over 25 dolls. Shortly after arriving in Germany, I met a young lady who had the same problem as I. She could not seem to get on the time zone for Germany, so we would talk to the wee hours of the morning just to keep ourselves from feeling so lonely. One night, like clockwork, I called my friend at around 7 or 8 p.m. And of course, both of our kids were up and just as restless as we were. Finally, it had gotten so late that even my daughter was wore out, so she went to sleep in her room. Even though she was 3 years old, she didn't really need me to tuck her in. I don't know how my friend and I found so much to talk about for so many hours. But I could tell I was getting tired, and I could see that the sun was starting to come up. Just as I was getting ready to end the phone call, because I could tell that pretty soon my husband would be getting up for his PT, I told my friend that it was getting late and that our husbands would be getting up pretty soon. My plans failed. My husband woke up and he was getting ready for PT, and he looked at me and he didn't say a word. I was so embarrassed. I didn't want him to know that I was on the phone all night. I didn't want him to know that I could not seem to get on a normal schedule. As he walked out the door, I couldn't help but say to myself, I have to do better. I have to get on a better schedule. Before I could finish the thought, I looked in the kitchen and I saw my daughter's baby doll laying on the floor, and for some reason it seemed peculiar because I don't remember seeing it there before. And so I said to my friend on the phone, wow, there's my daughter's doll there on the kitchen floor. I don't even remember it being there before. So she proceeds to tell me about stories of haunted dolls and even movies about dolls that were possessed. By this time, I was starting to get delirious. After all, we had been on the phone for about 11 hours, and I didn't expect her to start a whole new conversation about haunted dolls. As she was telling me the story about the haunted dolls, I had already turned my direction away from the doll that I had seen in the kitchen, and now I'm face to face with all of the porcelain dolls that I had collected for the last couple of years. All of a sudden, they seemed to stare at me. Their eyes were all glossy. I hadn't noticed that before. Now, they seemed to glare at me. At this point, I couldn't look away. I was so afraid. I wanted to look behind me to see if the doll in the kitchen was still there, but I couldn't move. I was frozen. My friend was unaware of what was happening because I had stopped talking, and she was still going on and on telling me about these haunted stories of dolls who were possessed. Finally, she had realized that I had stopped talking, and in that moment, I quickly looked behind my shoulders, and the doll was not there. She finally asked me, "Are you okay?" So I explained to her, "Remember the doll in the kitchen? Well, it's not there anymore." At this point, I started to scare my friend because she didn't know where this was coming from. And then I started hearing whispers.
She's in the room. She's in the room. She's in the room. Come and get me.
I turned back towards the porcelain dolls, and now they were all faced in the direction towards my daughter's bedroom. I suddenly began to scream. Please come and get me. I'm so scared. Can you come and get me? Please. As the whispers became more menacing, I had an overwhelming feeling that my daughter was in danger.
She's in your daughter's room. She's in your daughter's room. She's in your daughter's room.
Can't you hear them whispering? They're coming for my daughter. Please come and get me. Please. At this point, my friend was so afraid. She said, I can't come get you. Both of our husbands are gone and I don't have a vehicle. My kids are here. I can't come and get you. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you like that. I felt betrayed. How can dolls that I've loved since I was a child become the biggest source of paranoia and fear? And how can someone that I regarded as a friend cause me to panic and fear my own home? And just when I thought I would die of fear, my friend on the phone said, I don't care. I'll walk to your house. I'll wake my kids up and we'll walk to your house if we have to. And as quickly as it came, it went away. I felt relief. I felt no more fear. So I hung up the phone with my friend. I went into my room and I quickly fell asleep.